Hey everyone, so this video is going to be about titles and subtitles for KDP. So I hope this video helps you kind of figure out what to put there and what is the most effective way to sell your books. So I'm going over the KDP help areas first, and let's just go over some of the best practices. So it says enter your title exactly as it reads on the cover of your book. Title field will show your book's title on the book's detail page in the Amazon website. So you have to ensure your title is exactly the same for your paperback, hardcover, and ebook versions. It's how they're linked together. And then it kind of goes over things you're not allowed to say. You can't say like best-selling. You can't say free. You can't do a few things. You're only allowed to use certain words. So just take a note of that. Look over it. And also says repeating generic keywords like notebook, journal, gifts, books, etc. is not allowed. So that is something else to note and something I see quite frequently. And then moving over here, for print books, your title must be listed on the cover or the spine, or on the spine or the front cover. So just keep that in mind. You can't have a title and the word is not even on your cover at all. That is not allowed. So let's move over to some examples here. So looking at this one, the title is Camping Journal. Anything before the semicolon is going to be the title, and anything after the semicolon, or actually I think that's just a colon, is going to be your subtitle. And that's just how KDP works it. So they have Camping Journal here, and Camping Journal's right on the cover. So that's good. Sometimes you won't even notice the word on the page because for KDP or for Amazon, it doesn't show you the spine. So this could be completely blank, but say Camping Journal on the spine, and that's perfectly fine. But you just have to make sure it's somewhere, the spine or on the cover, for it to be allowed as the title. So after that, they have Family RV Travel Logbook, Campsite Logbook, Campground Notebook, Glamping Keepsake Memory Book for adventure notes, Road Trip Diary, Camp Planner Gift Idea for camper. So what they did here is they pretty much put in as many keywords as they possibly could and made them as different as possible. So they don't have a ton of competitive words. There are some words very similar like campsite, campground, glamping, camp, but they're not actually the same word. And my only note for this one is probably this last one, Camp Planner Gift Idea for Camper, doesn't really flow as well. Everything else flows and kind of makes sense, but this last one doesn't. I mean, obviously they're making sales, they published it in 2020, but this is kind of one way to approach your title, is to, you want to put in as many keywords as you can, whether they're short tail or long tail. I think it's usually easier to put in the long tail keywords, but it kind of depends what you're doing. So this is definitely helpful here. They didn't really repeat a ton. They used a bunch of different words and got in as many keywords as possible to help them rank. So again, my only comment would be the last one doesn't seem to really flow with it, but everything else does, and it's well done. So let's move on to another example here. Making memories one campsite at a time. So this is on the cover, so that's great. And then they also have Camping Logbook. So they added Camping Logbook, Family Camping Journal with writing prompts. So I think they probably could have chose a different word other than camping to try to add another keyword here, but it might have been a long tail keyword that they had. So it's probably okay. It's okay if you repeat a word once or so, I think, personally, but you want to try not to compete words in the title, or what's the word there? Repeat. I don't know why I keep saying compete. Repeat words. There we go. And I think that overall this is a pretty good title. It's not keyword stuffed, which is a term when people just stuff as many keywords as they can, and so many that it literally has dots here and you can't even read all of them. Or they repeat the same word notebook 20 times over again. So although this doesn't have as many keywords in it as this one here, it still is pretty well done. They probably could have added a little bit more, but honestly, I think this is fine as well as the first one. It's just a different method of going about it. So moving on to this one, Camping Journal and RV Travel Logbook, Road Trip Planner, Camping Diary, Campsite Adventure Logbook, Family Camping Memory Keepsake, and Gift for Campers and RV Retirement. So this one was actually published April 2022, and it is making sales as well. I think this one has a few repetitive words, maybe too many. They have camping in here 3 times, and then campsite, which is close, but it's not the same, so it's okay. But they also have campers. They have RV in here twice. So this one's like kind of on the edge for me. I definitely wouldn't have camping in there anymore. I think 3 times is maybe a little bit too much, so maybe they could try to take one out and combine one with something else. But other than that, it definitely seems like they're just taking keywords and putting them in, like the first person, which is what you want to do. So they have road trip planner, which must be a keyword, family camping, memory keepsake must be another keyword, and so on. And so I would probably just try to make it so that camping wasn't in there 3 times, but everything else is pretty good. So moving on to this one now, primary composition notebook, primary school journal, composition school exercise book for kids, ... cute unicorn, primary composition notebook, and then 8.5 by 11 inches and 120 pages. So this is one we would consider keyword stuffing. They have so many keywords that they have these dots here, unless they added them themselves, but pretty sure those are KDP dots. And they also have parentheses here. I don't normally recommend adding parentheses to the subtitle. I don't know, it just doesn't always look as aesthetically pleasing to me. But they have primary composition up here, and then they have composition down here. And then they have primary composition notebook again here. So they repeat it multiple times. And having the size and pages in the title is something that's been debated. I'm not sure if it's listed in these guidelines, but I don't think that it's recommended. But I also have done it before myself before, like, I knew that it might not be recommended. But I'm not sure it's really helpful. If it's allowed, then kind of do it if you feel that it's going to help you sell your book. But in the title, you definitely want to have keywords, and those normally are not going to be keywords. So it really depends. I would just do research on your own book, but this is a title that I would not recommend doing. And I'm so sorry if this is your book. I think it's great you're starting KDP, but I've definitely had titles like this too. You all start somewhere and you all learn. So this is one where there's just too many words, too many repetitive words, and I would probably just tone it down a bit. So moving on. Unicorn Journal and Sketchbook, Unicorn Gratitude Journal for girls, Unicorn Sketchbook for girls, lined and blank pages, draw and write journal and notebook for girl. So reading your title out loud is obviously super helpful, or definitely super helpful, because when you read something out loud, you actually kind of hear it better, which might sound a little bit weird. But I don't know if you've ever been told in school to read your essay out loud before you passed it in. I was told that all the time because when you're reading something in your head, like, you might add words in or adjust it as needed without even knowing, like just doing it consciously or subconsciously. So reading them out loud or reading them to somebody else, they can usually catch some sort of grammar things or stuff like that. And you want your title to flow. You want somebody to pick it up like as if they're at a bookstore and they read it and it all makes sense. You don't want it to be like journal for girls, notebook for girls, diary for girls. Like, you don't want it to say that over and over again. You want it to flow and sound good. So this is another one where there's too many repetitive words. We have unicorn in here multiple times. We have for girls multiple times. So this one is for girl. So I'm not sure if that was supposed to be girls. We got journal in here a few times. So I think that they were trying to add all the keywords in, but there just has to be like a better way or better flow to it. Also, the capitalization is very important for titles as well, because you just want it to look pleasing and professional. So here they have lined blank pages capitalized, but they don't have like gratitude journal, for example. So I would definitely go through, make sure you're capitalizing all of the proper words, make sure you have your words plural if you need to, like girls and girl here. If you want them to be singular, then fine, but I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be plural. And kind of just work it so that you're not repeating yourself over and over again. And again, I'm sorry if this is your book. We all start somewhere, and I'm just doing this for educational purposes. No hate whatsoever to anybody here. So moving on to higher content, just to give another example, A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose, Oprah's Book Club Selection 61. So I notice in high content, normally there aren't keywords or extra things in the title. It's normally what's literally on the title of the book. So this one has A New Earth right here, and then Awakening to Your Life's Purpose after that. And then this is Oprah's Book Club, I guess, Selection 61. So that's added in there, and it's in parentheses, but that makes sense. So if you have a high content book, then you're most likely only going to have your title. I normally don't see any with extra words, but I'm sure there's definitely some out there, and any extra words are probably related to whatever niche they're in or target market they're going after, but it's not going to look the same as like the camping journal, for example, with all the keywords that are in there. At least from my experience, that's what I notice. So this one is Stop Overthinking, 23 Techniques to Relieve Stress, Stop Negative Spirals, Declutter Your Mind, and Focus on the Present, The Path to Calm. So the Path to Calm is in parentheses because this is actually a series. So again, that makes sense. And this whole second part is also on their book cover. So they have all of the capitalizations correctly, and it flows. When you say that, or when I say that, like 23 techniques to relieve stress, stop negative spirals, declutter your mind, and focus on the present, like that flows into like a complete sentence. And they probably are trying to get some keywords in there. Like people search for relieve stress, they search for declutter your mind. So like this is very clever and very, very well done title in my opinion. And obviously they have a ton of sales. And it's a #1 bestseller, so that's amazing. But overall, on your title, you just want to try to get some keywords in there, but you don't want to stuff it. You don't want to repeat words, and you want to work on your grammar and your capitalization. And make sure that your actual title is on your cover or spine, and your subtitle doesn't have to be, but it all needs to be related to your book. And always make sure to watch out for trademark things. Like don't make a book on like Mickey and Minnie Mouse and then put like Disney as a keyword, because all of that is trademarked. So keep in mind with that as well. But I really hope that this was helpful. I know it was kind of a longer video and a lot of information at once. And titles are something that you just get better at over time. My first titles are horrific, and my titles now I'm still learning and trying to figure out what I like better. So don't be too hard on yourself. Just starting KDP and working on your education is an amazing start. And it just is going to take time to learn. This isn't something that's going to be taught overnight. So I hope this video is helpful in some way. And again, if any of your books were on here, hopefully you don't mind that. And I'm sorry that if anything I said was hurtful. I definitely did not want to be hurtful at all. And I try to not be negative to anybody. It's amazing to have a book published. And I know it takes effort regardless of what book it is. So I just want to say congrats to all of you that have published a book and submitted one. And if you're in this video and if there's an issue, just please feel free to reach out to me. I can blur it or do something else. So thank you so much for watching and listening to this video, and I hope you all have a great day.